Hi everyone, welcome back to Naturopathic Hangouts. I'm Dr. Amy Duong,
Hi, and I'm
and
Dr. Mimosa Tanu.
yay! And we're back today to talk about different naturopathic approaches to acne. So, acne is something that I actually see a lot in my practice. Lots of young people and also older people with adult acne. So we just thought it'd be a good opportunity to talk about different ways we approach the subject and how we go about giving like different treatment ideas and natural therapies. Mimosa, what do you see in your practice? You see a lot of acne?
Yeah, so when I was in Arizona, I actually saw a lot of acne too. And then now, at my practice now, I actually see some people with acne, but most are adult onset acne that they've said that they didn't have acne growing up, and now that they're in their late 20s or even early 30s, they've started to develop acne, and they all thought that it was something that they escaped when they were no longer teenagers. But there's so many different reasons why that's been happening.
Mm-hmm. And I think that the thing is with skin and acne too, that there's so many factors that are involved. There's a
Hmm.
hormonal aspect to it, and environmental toxicity, like how much you're exposed to and how much your liver has to process and metabolize those extra, whether it be in your food, like additives, preservatives, or also in our environment, just the air that we breathe, like it goes through the liver, and the liver has to clean everything. And over time, if it's overburdened with extra hormones, whether it be from processed foods or meat, especially like dairy, because dairy comes from a mother cow giving her child the necessary hormones and growth factors to grow. And if we're ingesting that, then that's something that the liver has to kind of process. So.
Yeah, exactly. And also with the water that we're using to clean our face and the air outside too. And a lot of people live in very polluted places where the water quality and the air quality is not the best. And so that definitely has something to do with that too. That definitely burdens the liver and the rest of your organs because you have to detox all of the things that are not that, all the impurities and all the toxins. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, definitely like water and air, something that I've seen once you
Yeah.
that you definitely make a big impact on your acne.
Yeah, and I think that, we talk a lot about the liver, but then
Hmm.
there's a lot of other different elimination pathways in your body. So how we're breathing, a lot of people do a lot of shallow breathing, which means that they just breathe
Hmm.
from their chest, and that doesn't provide the body all of its oxygenation when you're breathing or inhaling deep breaths. Then it provides all your cells and also relaxes your body, which is another thing that we can talk about with
Hmm.
acne is the stress.
Oh,
Big,
definitely.
big part, yeah. Another ways of organs of elimination include the kidneys or urinary tract system. The colon is a big one too. So
Hmm.
get it, making sure that your digestive tract is in balance with the different bacteria and yeast and fungus. So the milieu, is what we call it, is has more of the beneficial bacteria so that, you're able to have a really good nervous system, a really good immune system, all from your gut.
Definitely. Yeah, and it's a slow process, but with with even small changes, patients are able to see dramatic, like beneficial effects on their acne just by introducing a few things, making a
Mm,
few changes. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
So I guess we can go into what are some of the things that you recommend in your practice and for your patients with acne. Maybe we can go first with the diet suggestions. Like, what would you do
Sure.
for that? Yeah.
Yeah. And so I feel like this is all across the board with every single skin condition. Like when a patient comes in to see me, I would, of course, suggest they cut out a few things, but also if they're interested, run a food allergy test, or we could do a rotation and elimination diet. But if they just want things very simple for me to tell them what to do without all the testing, then things like cutting out sugar, cutting out dairy, and some patients cutting out gluten, and
Mm,
also telling them to avoid any foods that are fried, that are processed. that have trans fats in them.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like a lot, but if you take those things out, if you start taking them out, it becomes a lot easier. And I
Mm-hmm.
tell them to increase their fruits and especially vegetables, making
Mm-hmm.
sure they have proper amounts of vegetables and hydration.
Oh yeah, good point.
Half
Yeah.
your ounces of water a
Mm.
day. Hmm.
Yeah, and I think that a routine that they can do in the morning is add some lemon and some warm water that helps your, metabolism jumpstart and also helps your
Hmm.
liver detoxify the things that it's been processing overnight. So
Hmm.
a lot of our healing happens when we sleep, and when we're able in the morning to like flush that out with the lemon, helping your liver and also the water content. Um,
Hmm.
a lot of your toxicity goes through your bladder and your urinary tract, so that's a good way for things to eliminate. So that's what we can do in the morning.
Yeah.
hmm what else I was going to talk to you about? Oh, yeah, so think a lot of things that are white. So white flour,
Hmm.
white sugar, processed foods. And if it's hard to eliminate all of these at one time, you can kind of do some more motivational interviewing, ask the patient what they're able to commit to for the next week.
Hmm.
And then even if it was like 10% of a change, that they do for themselves and their body, then over 10 weeks, it's a whole new diet and a whole new lifestyle. So I think even doing it incrementally is really a positive thing too, because oftentimes people get overwhelmed. But and then after a while, this is our lifestyle. This is kind of how we eat and live all the time. So I think it's just
Yeah.
they're getting used to it, and they're like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And I was like, okay, well, if you can drink enough water for this week, and then next week we can talk about maybe eliminating liver irritants like your processed
Mhm.
food, genetically modified foods, or even caffeine, which is a big liver irritant. So different things like that.
Yeah, definitely. And they always say, oh, so I can never have chocolate again. You should not just restrict yourself all the time. Maybe like a small treat, like once a week or every other day, or just something small. You don't have to eat like a giant piece of cake, but just a piece of like dark chocolate. Yeah.
Yeah, nowadays, like the demand for really high percentage of like the cacao and the dark chocolate is like you can find it at Whole Foods, different health
Yeah.
food stores, like different 75% or 80% is really good. So you can do that if you not want the
Hmm.
chocolate taste.
Exactly. Yeah.
hmm
All right. What else, Amy? Should we move
Yeah, the
to?
other thing that I do, like we talked about the food allergy testing, which is a specialty
Mhm.
testing that's not usually covered with regular lab work, but another one that you can look into doing is something like a GI profile. So different
Mhm.
ones that we used at school was doctor's data, and the one that I use in practice is Genova GI effects, which is just a comprehensive stool analysis. And this requires a patient to take samples of their stool and send it off to the lab, and then they'll determine if there's any potential pathogenic bacteria, any overgrowth of
Mhm.
yeast or fungus, parasites. So these are things that we also have to manage as well, because over time people with acne, they have something we call leaky gut most of the time. So they've been eating foods that are now not easily assimilated and properly digested. So we have to take care of those microbes, which is like very, very important.
Exactly. And once you get that back, you can see what kind of bacteria your gut has too much of and which good bacteria your gut has too little of. And so at that point, we'll know what kind of supplements, what kind of probiotics we want to give the patient so that they can build up their gut flora again, since like, a large amount of your immune system is in your gut. And so by
Mm-hmm.
changing and altering the flora so that you have more beneficial bacteria, you can see a dramatic increase in immune health, and
Mm-hmm.
therefore increases your body's elimination pathways, and therefore,
Mm-hmm.
be a lot more detox, and that can lead to his pretty much being healthier,
Yeah. So
feeling
I
better.
I learned the other day was that each person has a different like profile of their intestinal
Mhm.
tract, and that's even more unique and individualized than like your fingerprint. So
Yeah,
isn't that
interesting.
cool? Yeah.
Really cool.
I was going to tell you also, and so whenever we get these tests back, we also get to see if you do have strains of yeast or fungus such as Candida, but Candida has different strains. So there's Candida albicans and different other strains, and the lab can also tell you what natural substances can prevent the growth of those. So whether it be different drugs, if you want to do drug therapy such as nystatin or different like antifungals, or the natural way, which we see a lot of like garlic or undolenic acid, caprylic acid for yeast in particular, but that's just an example.
Yeah, there's so many different products and different blends that work synergistically to help the body decrease the amount of like unhealthy yeast.
Yeah, so that's a big aspect of it. It's like food, what you're putting in your body, in your diet, and also the health of your digestive system, which we can see in these specialty testing. If we don't do that, it's kind of like empirical over time. We as doctors have the experience of seeing what things that surefire work. Like I see a lot of, if people just eliminate dairy and just try to eat more of like an organic, natural diet, that really helps. Like that could be the key to somebody. But if there's like other things going on, such as like chronic diarrhea along with the acne or different other intestinal tract things, we don't want to give things like blindly. So taking the effort to doing that test is a really good like due diligence as a doctor.
Exactly. And sometimes I see patients trying so many different things, and they're like, I've tried every single thing, I've done so much research, why is it not working? It's because they're not really addressing the root cause of the acne or the root cause of their concerns. They're just trying to suppress it with like natural things, but at the same time, that might work a little bit in the beginning, but it's not going to have long-term effects unless you find what is the root cause of why you're experiencing the things that you are.
Yeah, and speaking of root causes, you know, there's the physiological causes of why acne can persist in a person, but then there's also an emotional, more spiritual idea of why acne persists in someone. And what I see a lot of people with acne, they could have issues with self-worth or sort of like shame. And if you can delve into the things that they feel are clogged in their life, such as emotions that have been suppressed, or like different areas where people kind of suppress them and their voice and what their opinions about things, then they are clogged. So then their pores are also clogged, and that can kind of manifest as acne too. And when we talk about like the stomach area, that's your solar plexus, your idea of self-worth. So doing different exercises. We can talk next time about like EFT or other ways of like positive affirmations, things like that, to kind of help you be able to look into yourself and believe the self-love that's really deep inside. So
yeah, that's wonderful. And what I love about our medicine is how we address the mind, the physical body, and the spirit and soul, which is excellent. And kind of on that topic, the stress too. Stress is such a big concern. Stress is such a big reason why a lot of people have acne. And by addressing the stress, doing all the things you suggested, doing some deep breathing, doing some emotional freedom techniques, doing yoga, meditation, things that can really help someone decrease stress and therefore decrease all the other concerns in the body, since stress plays such a big role in almost every single disease, I know.
Yeah, especially because if you're stressed, then your body feels like it's always running from that tiger, that animal, and your body doesn't know the difference between actually running from an animal, like in our old Neanderthal times, but also thinking about it. So if you're like always feeling that you're rushed, that you need to do something, that you need to get somewhere, and you can't really stay in the present moment, then your body is always shooting out those stress hormones, and that prevents your body to actually heal the things that it needs to and also eliminate properly.
Exactly, which we know is a huge problem and a big contributing factor to the acne. Yeah, so there's a lot of different things that you can do to help decrease your stress, to help balance out your cortisol, which is your stress hormone, and cortisol definitely is necessary at times, but when it's out of balance, so when it's not high in the morning and then slowly tapers off, you're going to not have the proper, you're not going to feel as balanced. You're not going to be able to sleep. You're going to wake up in the middle of the night or wake up not like still exhausted. And so by balancing that out, you'll be able to sleep better and therefore have less stress. And also sleep is a big factor in acne as well. This is making sure that your diet is good, proper hydration, enough adequate amounts of sleep, low stress can definitely help with that.
Yeah. So, okay, so we talked about diet, the GI tract, balancing the different microbes, stress, emotional aspects to acne. What else?
About the hormonal aspect.
Yes, that's a big one too. And so we see a lot of acne, in teenagers, and that could just be that there's a surge of hormones that androgen specifically that kind of rise when you're going through puberty. But also I see a lot of women during their menstrual cycles when they have a PMS, and there is an acne outbreak too. And that just means, again, that the hormones that the liver has to process and metabolize is just more than it's used to. And if your liver is already overburdened and sluggish, then it's going to come out through another elimination pathway, which is your largest organ is your skin. So that's a good way to things to come out.
Yeah. And doing simple things to help support the liver, such as foods that help the liver, like artichoke. What other foods, Amy?
Broccoli, cauliflower, and I'm drinking some beet juice right now.
Yeah, well, beets are excellent to help detox the liver. And doing dandelion, exactly. Like you can do all sorts of teas that are really good for the liver. Castor oil packs, that's a big thing. So yeah, we can talk about castor oil packs.
Yeah, why don't we do like a video on like lymphatic system, because that's kind of a system that's forgotten a lot of times when it comes to healing. And it can be pertinent for acne, but pertinent for everything. And we've touched upon it before: the contrast showers, the skin brushing, and the jumping on the trampoline, also the castor oil packs. These all help the lymphatic system, which is kind of like the garbage can of your body. So if you're able to clean it up and allow it to move where it needs to sort of eliminate, then that's a lot better.
Yeah, and there's so many different herbs that can help the liver, such as milk thistle or
gallium, vitalaca, all these different things. And each of those herbs are specific to a different part of your body too. So if you are talking about something like vitalaca, it's good for people who have acne just isolated to their face too, because it's like in the area of like the upper body, whereas gallium you could use throughout your body. So if you're having acne also in your back, on your chest, different areas that need the lymphatic drainage.
Yeah, definitely. One herb that I really like I said, burdock. It's excellent for the liver, and it's very specific to the skin too. I used to take that as a tincture, and when I was having some eczema, an increase in acne due to stress, due to, I guess, it's the environment, and that's helped a lot.
Yeah.
I felt my liver was working better, my elimination was better, my skin definitely got better after that.
Yeah. What else, Mimosa?
What else? Oh, another thing too, going going back to talking about elimination and colon health, doing enemas and colonics.
We haven't talked about that yet.
So colonics are an excellent way, since the water goes through your whole colon, and it's just using water, very gentle, to clean out your colon, since, like we said, a huge part of your immune system is in your gut. And when do you ever clean it? And so by doing this, you're able to get a lot of toxins out, and it's an excellent way to detox the body, to get rid of waste that will never be removed otherwise. And also enemas, but enemas only stay in the last part of your colon.
The sigmoid.
the sigmoid, exactly. And but still, it's a really good way to help clean things out. And when your gut is clean, when your colon is clean, it's able to work so much better at eliminating toxins, and you feel better afterwards. So you feel lighter and you feel cleaner.
And also, I also find that after doing like enemas or colonics, you have more mental clarity too. At first, it depends. Like if your first couple sessions, you might feel as if you're even more brain fogged, and that's just toxins sort of circulating your body and it hasn't been able to find a way to eliminate yet. And so at that time, making sure that you're eating more raw cleansing foods, and what else? Yeah, and drinking a lot of water to sort of flush that out that way. But over time, it's just going to be cleaner and cleaner. And we haven't really talked about coffee enemas, but that might be a topic that we have someone come join us.
Yes.
And so that's another type of enema that's more specific to liver cleansing, but that in a way also needs you to have the juices alongside with the coffee enemas, because there's a specific sort of ratio of like 3 to 4 juices to 1 coffee enema, or else like the balance is kind of not correct. So
yeah, and another thing that I have personally tried for like skin issues is just like a quick 3-day juice fast, a green juice fast. Yeah, and during that time, I remember doing a lot of like not focusing so much on work, on school, just taking that time off for yourself and drinking so much juice and so much water and green juice too, and a lot of breathing and reflecting. And just giving yourself time to heal. And after 3 days, I felt like my body, it was like pressing a reset button, and I felt much better. And my skin cleared up. I was able to start to think better, just so many positive changes.
Yeah, and then if you're going down this lifestyle of eating more clean and thinking more positive thoughts and kind of going in the direction of your joy, then over time that there's less to clean out, so you can do longer fasts. But in the beginning, it can be very sort of like your body being like, what are you doing? I need food to survive. I need food to get energy and keep going. And so, for me, I guess we can talk about experiences with fasting, but I had a lot of like body aches and just like mentally just so crazed. I remember one time doing a fast and just like wanting macaroni and cheese the entire time. So it's just like your mind does play tricks on you, and you're just like, hold up, let me just take some time to cleanse and give everybody a rest, like all your organs a rest, so that it can
Very true. Anything else? Adequate amounts of fiber too. That's something else important. Yeah, there's so many different types of fibers. You can use chia seeds, freshly ground flax seeds. So you can get the whole flax seeds and then grind them up yourself in a coffee grinder, but don't get the pre-ground ones, since it tends to get rancid since there's a lot of oils in it.
Yeah.
Psyllium powder. So many different types of fiber to use, and also just eating a lot of greens, a lot of vegetables.
Yeah, fiber is also really good for your beneficial bacteria, because the fiber feeds the beneficial bacteria. So, going back, making sure that your ratios of the good and bad are good, but then feeding it with the necessary fiber and other nutrients, specifically for the good ones. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
I think we can talk a little bit more later about different ways to cultivate that self-love and self-worth that's kind of involved, especially when it's to your skin, which is the interface that you have with different people and then the environment, the society. So talking a lot about the emotional aspect of things that kind of manifest in your appearance is something that we can talk about later.
Okay, definitely. That will be really good. And I feel like that's something that everyone deals with.
Yeah.
A lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah. So that kind of concludes our talk about acne. Hopefully we'll have some even awesomer news soon. We are waiting to hear back from different things, but Mimosa and I have great news coming up.
Great
So
news. Yeah, we're
stay
so excited.
tuned. No. So we will talk to you next time. See you next week,
All
everybody.
right. Bye, everyone.
Bye, Liz.
Bye.